and on Facebook and YouTube, and I think on Twitch. So looking forward to chatting with our guest today. And I'm going to ask our co-host, Marielle, to introduce the show.
Hey guys, thank you very much for joining us today on another edition of Dojo Life. Today it's me, Mariel, Carlos, and Julie joining us. And today we have April Jefferson, CEO of Black Space App. Thank you very much, April, for being with us today.
Of course, thank you all for having me. It's an honor to be here.
All right, April. First off, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, how you started all of this?
Sure. My name is April Jefferson, and I was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri, from the Midwest. And I am an avid traveler. Been traveling since I was a little girl. As a young girl, I traveled and visited every state in the country with my father. So traveling is something near and dear to my heart. I am also a mother, and I'm a community builder. I like to connect with people in my community and build people up and empower those around me.
Great. Thank you, April. Today we're going to be talking about specifically Black Space App. Carlos, can you remind us what's going to be the topic for today? Well, besides,
Absolutely, Marielle. We're going to be speaking about technology and travel in cultural economics, utilizing technology for development in travel and tourism as it pertains to cultural economics. Am I right, April?
That's correct.
Perfect. Awesome. So that's the topic, Marielle.
Thank you. Okay, going on, continuing with this, April, Black Space App. Basically,
Yes.
where is it? Where that idea came from?
So the Black Space Traveler's Guide, and we connect travelers to the culture no matter where they are. And in our app, users are able to find a curated travel experience that is for exclusively for the Black traveler. It is they are able to find suggested events, and they are able to purchase this. They are able to find businesses in our directory as well as deals and savings. They are also able to connect with other travelers through our social media platform, and they are also able to find entertainment and travel news through our feed. So it's a full service travel app. We'll soon be offering booking accommodations as well. So we want Black travelers to be able to plan, navigate, and share their travels no matter where they are. I created the app because personally, as a Black traveler, I found myself always looking, when I was traveling, I'm always looking to connect to the communities I'm in. And whether that be, going to an event and connecting to people where I feel, familiar and comfortable, people where I feel included, myself and others that look like me, or supporting a Black owned business, looking for those businesses that I can go in and patronize and feel like I contributed to this community. And once I once I pinpointed exactly what I was looking for as a traveler, I just started to speak to those within my network, those that are like minded, and they were really like, those are the same things that I'm looking for. And so once I realized that I wasn't alone in this, that's when I really started to sit down and develop the plans to come up with this app and who I wanted to reach.
That's fantastic, April. Look, one of the things we're focused on now is talking about culture, specifically how we bridge cultural gaps in our society. And what we love to talk about is educating and informing the public about things that matter to different types of culture, different types of individuals. And one of the things we discussed before we came on board was the theme around building trust and empowerment. Can you share a little bit about what is it that you're doing and how that enhances empowering people, as well as what does it mean to you building trust with your users?
Trust is that's the leading thing that we are driven by, because with us, it's not just about the Black travel experience as far as entertainment and accommodation, also about the safety of the Black traveler. especially when we are looking at the climate in today with the things that are happening that are prevalently happening within the country, and more awareness is happening. We have to build upon trust with our users, because the travel industry in general is not giving these things to Black travelers. They are not highlighting the Black travel experience. They are not bringing awareness to what is happening to Black travelers when they are going out here and facing racism, prejudice, and things like that. So one of our things is really bringing that awareness and showing Black travelers, where it is safe to go, where it is safe to spend your dollars, because we know that black black consumers, they are looking to spend with brands that they can identify with. Not only that, but they want to feel safe when they go there. We've had several incidents of police being called, people just feeling unsafe and unwanted. And so that's a huge thing within the Black community. And so we want to build the trust with our users to let them know that we know these things are happening, and we value you, and we want to bring awareness to these things. And we also want to bring awareness to not just you as travelers, but to everyone, like me doing this interview and things like this today, but to everyone, to know that these things are actually, they're important to us, and we value them, and we want you guys to know that.
So first of all, I think it's a shame that we have to actually have this kind of thing in place in today's society and world, but it's important that we do. I'm curious: are you mostly focused in the U.S. or is this also globally?
Globally, we actually are reaching over 15 countries. We have travelers using the app as they're traveling to different places. We have people in that are living in different places that are reaching out, wanting to know, do we have X, Y, and Z when they are leaving to go travel, or do we have things in their area? So we are looking to be global, because we know that this is not just a problem here. It also carries over overseas, internationally. So it's not just a domestic issue.
Interesting. Is there, like, what are some of the examples of things that, if as a Black traveler, that matter in that you're serving in terms of uh, experience that you want to have in creating a safe environment, creating an environment where you can freely go there and you're going to have a good. How do you curate all this information? Is I guess the question. That seems like a pretty big
Right.
task, curating that kind of information. How do you go about doing that?
And it is a huge task. And that's why the first beginning this, I focused mainly on the community. I focused on, finding out what Black travelers are wanting, going to different events, meeting with them, sharing with them this idea, speaking within my network just about my ideas, and really gathering a lot of that information first. And then also building the community to where I can reach a mass amount of travelers and say, this is what we're doing, because realistically they want something like this, and so they're willing to be involved and give input and give suggestions and give stories. We've had a lot of community people just send us stories, send us information, come on the app and share information. So we're gathering a lot of this information from the community, because this is something that they need, they feel like they need as well.
Okay, so it's community generated. There's input and active engagement about recommending travel experiences, etc.
Yes,
How
currently. Yeah.
so? Do you think this is something that serves the needs of just the Black community, or is this something that we ought to look at across different cultures and communities as well? I mean, I can, like, someone from the Middle East might want to have a different kind of experience traveling than someone from Europe. Do you think this could become a trend across various cultures, or you think this is more specifically needed for the Black community?
Absolutely not. It's actually apps out there that are geared towards other ethnicities and travel. I've done some research on that as well. And so it's not, like you said, it does carry across, because there are many different ethnicities and people want different experiences when they go to different places. And not only that, I feel like everyone wants to connect. I feel like everyone has this innate feeling to want to connect to other people, but you want to feel comfortable. You want to feel familiar. You don't want to feel like you're going to go in somewhere and be have eyes stare at you, or feel, make people feel unsafe or uncomfortable and things like that. So your first mind is to find, where you feel comfortable. Where do you fit in? Where are people, hate to say it, but where are people they kind of look like you, or you can identify with? So I feel like it's something that could be used for any culture in any community.
That's great. By the way, if you have questions for April, you can submit them on at Dojo Live on Twitter. You can also submit them in the stream in the comments of LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. So if you're following along and you have questions that you want to submit, please do them. We'll take those questions. I know Carlo's looking at that stream and checking those things out. So interrupt us if those questions come up. Carlos, if anything comes up, please interrupt us. Mario, do you have some questions for April as well?
Yeah, I do actually. I have some questions. Talking a little bit about technology. Uh, right now, this is just an app, right? There's not a web version of this. We can just download it like from where, like Play Store, App
Yes,
Store, or where do
right.
we find it?
It's available in the Apple and Google store, so you're able to download it directly from the store onto your phone. It's We have a website. It's currently being renovated right now, but our website does not have the directory, the information, the comprehensive information that you will find on the app, or the capabilities to check in and find things by location and things like that. That's exclusively within the app. The website is just more information as far as blog information, because we do stories. We do produce our own content as well. So we are looking for businesses to highlight, in community initiatives, um, anything that could assist within our community that we have, because like I said, we have the listings and we have travelers. So businesses, if we have any content that would help our businesses and our listings, any content that would help our travelers when they're traveling or bring awareness, we provide that as well.
So it's a combination of a travel booking experience plus a directory of different uh, vendors, etc., that cater to the
Yes.
community. Okay, great.
Yes. Correct.
I'm curious to learn trends, different traveling trends that you're noticing. I know, for example, solo travelers among women is one of the highest, fastest growing segments worldwide. Is that
Yes.
following through in the Black community as well? Are you noticing more Black female solo travelers, or is it different? What are you noticing in terms of trends based on your experience?
Yes, it's actually the same within the Black community. The largest portion of the dollars generated from Black travel come from Black women. So they are spending the most on travel and leisure annually. That is a huge trend. So me, myself, and the people who work with me, we are majority of us are Black women. So we really keep up on those trends, and we're watching and we're seeing, and we're realizing not only that Black women are beginning to travel more in a solo aspect of it, but we're also seeing that Black men are traveling as well too. And it's becoming more of a trend on their end as well. It's starting to increase with Black men as well.
Solo traveling.
Yes.
And for leisure, not
Yeah.
business. I mean, for leisure traveling.
Yes, the problem is that it's not really being seen. And so, like for instance, I'm in, of course, we are in a ton of Black travel groups, a ton of Black travel, publication and things like this. And you often hear people voicing, they're not seeing Black men travel. And then you'll see just an influx of, Black men just coming and, saying, they are traveling, and they're creating this conversation and showing that there is a movement with Black men that travel. It's just not being visible. It's just not visible. And it's definitely not visible within the main travel sector. So it's something that we're trying to, within the movement that we're creating with Black travel, such as, Travel Noir and Nomadness, different Black travel movements, they're beginning to bring more awareness to the Black male traveler and highlight a Black male traveler, because we want to encourage Black males to travel and to know that there are Black men traveling as well, not just women, because you see Black women traveling all the time. You see images, you see positive representation, you see the experiences, but Black men, you don't really see that. But they traveling. It's just that there is no representation of that. And we definitely want to bring more of that to the table.
Cool. Carlos, it looks like you have a question. I can tell when you have a
I have
question.
a question. Yeah, yeah, I have a question. I was watching and listening to the conversation on the video that's showcased on your website with this person, Claiborne, Chanel
Yes.
Claiborne,
Hmm.
and she did mention something that I found interesting and intriguing a little bit. She could use black space all over the world. So whenever the concept of international travel comes to
Carlos,
my
I'm sorry.
mind,
Carlos, I'm sorry. Hey, Carlos, I'm
yes,
sorry to interrupt you. Can you repeat that? You were breaking, you were pixelating. Repeat what you were saying, please.
yeah, I said that I was listening. There's a conversation. There is a video of a conversation that it's right there on the website, on Black Space App's website, Chanel Claiborne.
Yes.
And she was saying that she's able to use Black Space App whenever she travels across the world, throughout the world. So my question is, I am intrigued by the concept of cultural economics. So my question to you, April, would be, what sort of, let's put it this way, geographic challenges have you experienced when curating all the info that we can find through Black Space App whenever another country with maybe a small black community is involved? So I don't know if I made myself clear, but that's my question: is how do you manage all these geographies beyond the U.S., for example, when it comes to curating all the information that's available to the Black Space App? When it comes
Okay.
to
So
I think if I could add,
yeah,
because you answered that
curating
earlier,
content.
you answered that earlier about curating the content is user generated. Is it more? Are you asking more like are there specific countries that are less friendly towards black travelers than others, and how do you determine that?
you know, or maybe simply the concept of cultural economics might have a different meaning in one country in comparison to
Mm,
the US or Canada, for example. So, how do you
right.
overcome those differences that might arise?
So our objective is really to highlight the value of the Black traveler and also the experience of the Black traveler in any community. And of course, we are going to maybe get, pushback or maybe negative or whatever the case may be. However, the way that we are going about it is that we want to go into those communities. We don't really want to. We know that there are some people who feel that this um, is not needed, or this is something that wouldn't necessarily be an asset to them or their community, or they feel like this is not something that they could use because it may generate some other types of feelings. So we go based upon, this is, we are a fully inclusive app. We're not discriminating against anyone using the app or being a part of the app. All that we are trying to do is be included in those communities and show that Black travelers are included, because Black travelers are valuable. When it comes to economics, they spend 63 plus billion annually on travel, and that's with a small, we're a small percentage. So we have a huge impact. And bringing that into those communities, even if it is, and I feel like we will probably get pushback if it's a small community with not many minorities and things like that, which that is definitely a community that we want to reach, because we know that, for one, Black culture is, everywhere. We're looking for Black culture everywhere, in every city, every state, every country. We're connecting travelers to that culture. And so if it's culture there, we do want to be there, and we want travelers to know about it. Even if it's a small percentage, we want travelers to know about it, and we want them to to contribute to that community. And so that is the way that we are presenting it to every community that we come to, is that, we're just here to contribute. We know that these dollars do assist in can assist in economic development in these communities that are underserved. And we know that majority of the time we have, Black and brown people residing in these communities. So we want to be that, like I said before, that agent of change within these communities. And it's not about what they necessarily feel as far as, the cultural economics, because that is a piece to it. That's a huge piece to it. However, it's more about the community, the trust, and the agent of change, and inclusion, and really making a statement across the world that, we are included and we are valuable, and that this is, an agent of change that we all can jump aboard on and make a difference.
That's fantastic, awesome, April. So I'm curious now. I'm thinking as you're talking, like the Ministry of Travel of different countries. How do you go about educating them? Are you planning to put out reports or insights, or reaching out to them? Because if they're not aware, first of all, what did you say, 63 billion or 46 billion? The number's pretty big. If they're
63
not aware of this
Yes.
spend, or the impact that the Black community can have traveling to these destinations, how do you create awareness? Is there anything you're doing to reach out or put information out so that they begin to look at how do we cater to this marketplace that perhaps hasn't been well served in the past, and definitely should be, because it also makes culturally economic sense?
Yes. So one of the things I'm doing, and that we are working on, is to go into these communities and partner with the communities, the cities themselves, because tourism is number one. I mean, just the industry itself is already a huge industry, but we know, of course, that we can have an impact. So going in and speaking to them and making sure that, number one, that we do have, inclusive tourism available within their cities, that they are catering to subset of people who have specific needs and specific experiences, and we have specific worries about our travel experiences. So going into those cities and partnering with them to be able to let them know, how the Black travel is affecting their communities. That's something that we definitely do want to start reporting. Well, we are going to start reporting, and we have been putting together to start going to these different communities and saying, we want to represent, the Black traveler, and we want to make sure are included in your community. We want to make sure that they know we can bridge that gap with you and them, and that included in this community, come here, and we can here that that are important not only to your community but to us as well.
And what else? What do you think OTAs can do to perhaps implement or integrate some of this information, or abilities? Is that also an initiative you guys are planning to, bring more mainstream awareness to the online travel agencies so that they can offer these kinds of capabilities to the Black community?
Yes,
How you go?
yes,
What's your plan to go about that? That seems like a big opportunity
so
for you, I guess. I'm thinking.
yeah. Yeah, so travel, I mean, of course, travel agents, especially Black travel agents, are seeing this, and they have been reaching out like crazy. So we've been, meeting with them, and, in talks with them, and just seeing how we can come together and be a force together to bring this information, changes, that gap within the community that we're trying to do. So we have been meeting with those people, that the influx of people that have been coming to us, but we've also been developing a plan to, yes, give a mass, um, to get out there to the public in a massive way when it comes to that sector. And so we right now we're just on a level of collaborating with those different agents that are reaching out to us, but we do plan on reaching out and really getting to it on a much bigger level, because we know there is a lot of opportunity there.
Well, April, we're coming up on time. It always happens this way when we're just trying to have a lot of fun.
I know.
Like to just open to any additional questions my teammates have. Otherwise, one final question I have, but I'll give Carlos and Mariel a chance to see if they have any additional questions.
Well, I have a question. Actually, going back to the technology side of this, April, can you tell us like what's been the biggest challenge that you have faced while building the app? Like, was it technology related, like getting together a team, or designing the actual app, like which features you should include in there? I actually downloaded the app, took a ride. I'm a QA engineer, so that's in my blood. I needed to see it,
Right.
and it was really cool to see this feedback section. Like, you really care about your user. You're willing to hear what they have to say. So what was the biggest challenge that you saw during this?
So the biggest challenge for me was definitely the technology overall is the biggest challenge for me, because I'm not very well versed in the technology field. I am a designer. I have worked in the design field, but not, coding or developing apps or anything of this grandiose nature. So it was something that I took on, kind of knowing, okay, who this is going to be a little monster. And it was a little difficult at the beginning, trying to, I think the biggest of it was kind of figure out what features to have on there, like really narrowing it down to that experience that we want to give to the Black traveler, or that they really want when they're traveling. The most important things that resonate with them, I think, was the biggest challenge. With that for a while, just going back with getting feedback and things like that, and then kind of really narrowed it down to the main things that are on the app right now.
Yeah, to be honest, I like I said, I took a look, and there are a lot of things, and I found most of them like really cool. Like, if I was traveling, I will definitely use like most of them. It's very cool.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for. I'm like, when you travel, what are you looking to use, and what would be the most useful for you? Like, this would be a tool that you can use, before you're traveling, to plan your travels, while you're traveling, to navigate some areas you want to go, and also to entertain you during your travels, having that streaming piece, which also, I think that just ties into the economic piece as well. Like, we're trying to touch cultural economics all across the board, and music is a huge piece of our culture.
Yeah.
So that's something that I definitely wanted to include in there.
Well, getting a compliment from a quality assurance engineer is a pretty big deal.
It is. It really is.
Just saying, it's a pretty big deal. Just to wrap it up, any words of wisdom you'd like to share about your journey, things you've learned, things that people can learn and adapt from this experience for themselves? Anything you'd like to leave the audience with?
I definitely say that take your time. It's a marathon. It is not a sprint. That is, when people say that, that is 100% true. Take your time and really delve into what you're doing, immerse yourself, and just keep your passion no matter what. Keep your passion and keep pushing and keep persevering. People may not get it, but as long as you do, that's all that matters.
Well, April, thanks for doing a whole lot of good for the world. Really appreciate you being our guest today. And I think we had another question, but I think that was answered earlier. So thanks for your time. And Carlos, who do we have coming up next week? This is a test to see if we can read his lips now.
Right.
It always happens to me. I apologize for that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So next week we are going to be having a conversation. Hold on one second, please. Next week, where is it? Okay. Upcoming. So next week we're going to be having a conversation with John Arnold. He is the founder and the CEO, the principal of J. Arnold and Associates, a tech consulting company. And then we're going to be speaking about adapting collaboration technologies to today's digital workforce. Or in other words, leveraging the cloud to drive productivity gains and better collaboration outcomes. So that should be interesting. That's going to be happening next week, folks, right here on Dojo Live, 1 p.m. Pacific. So stay tuned, mark your calendars, and we'll see you here next week.